You ever heard of Life on the Mesa?
Life on the Mesa. Yeah, some of the people watching this have seen it. Off the Grid, Life on the Mesa, filmed outside of Taos.
Yep. Eugene, he's a friend of mine. I don't know about that land out there. It seems like people who stay out there get a little wacky when they're out there, and then when they come back, they slowly return to normal. That's what I've noticed. And it could be government experiments. It could be the fact that they call it an outdoor insane asylum, and it could
Interesting.
it could be some. It's fertile ground for.
That's what I called Portland, an open air mental asylum.
Yeah, it's a great place for the government to do their little weird.
What do you think they're doing?
It could be RF. It could be anything. I don't know. But
they probably see some of those people as easy targets. Really.
It could be also. There's my second theory is like there was this guy. Let me tell you a quick story. He landed. His plane crashed in the Sahara Desert, and he made it to civilization. But when he did, by the time he got there, his brain had dried up, and from then on, he had Parkinson's disease. So, if your brain ever dries up, you're fucked for the rest of your life. And these people, all it takes is one hot day with no water, and your brain gets a little dried up.
Now, did you have commentary to throw in with the geoengineering?
The chemtrails? Are you kidding me?
He said he's noticed more of it in the last few years.
But you can't localize it like that.
Right.
So whatever's hitting them is hitting us too in that respect. But yeah, that's the main reason I want to leave the country is because.
Have you seen a sharp increase in the last few years?
Yeah, they're fucking bombarding the crap out of it. We're being attacked like I've never seen, and it's just so since we're so high in the atmosphere, you can see the crap just bleeding off of these chemtrails like poison, and it's like, good God. You know, a couple, like I think 5 years ago, I came out here and it was 360 days of blue skies, and it was real blue skies, and you never see a cloud or never see a chemtrail or a cloud or anything. And then I moved here, and then it was like all of a sudden, it was like Seattle. You never got any sunshine, and it was always nice and clear blue like this until about 12 o'clock, and then the planes would start doing their chemtrails this way and that way in the middle of an area that has no air traffic, and at a level. See, they're flying at a cloud level, and that takes twice as much fuel. There's no reason why an airplane would travel in a cloud level. They try to get through it because there's turbulence there. And anyway, you can see that the planes are not at 10,000 feet. They're more like 3,000 feet. And they're putting off these chemtrails that go from one end of the sky to the other and last. And then for you slowly watch the crap bleed from them. And then it starts to pan out like a spread out. Like, I'll tell you what, when I was in elementary school, they taught us about clouds. There was like cumulus and Sirius and all these different kinds of clouds. Well, they never told us about these hazy things that come streaming off of contrails that last all day long. And then that turns into rain and cold weather.
Now let's go back to the Taos Mesa, though. Do you think that's the primary way the government may be toying with them? Well, what are some of the other factors that could be contributing to the open air asylum aspect of society?
Oh, just in respect to the Mesa?
Yeah, the multi-pronged factor.
You got to take into consideration right next door to the Mesa is the only Earthship community, and those are rich people with nice houses. So whatever they're doing is very there's like, it must be EMF, like a radio thing, and they probably got it right there on the top of the Two Peaks fucking thing, and it's probably like making people's heads radios.
Would it be smart meters? Are they starting to install those all throughout the...
It's been known that people can pick up radio stations in their tooth, and so the government, I'm sure, has figured out how to turn people's skulls into radio receivers. Who knows what they're doing? I have a girlfriend right now who's being targeted. I think she feels these weird EMF things over her head whenever she comes near me, and she got in my car the other day, and everything fucked up. It took a day or two for all the stuff to start working again. all my electronic shit fucked up instantly. I had to
something's penetrating their consciousness, but you don't necessarily know what it is, but something's going on.
Just a few weeks ago, well, I think what they did is they shot something at her and it reflected and it fucked up all the.
But they could have been anything, an energy.
I'm not going to get into what they fucked up because, you know.
Electronics, though, it was a lot of electronics going haywire.
And another thing is, like, a few months ago, this lady showed up dead in her car in the library parking lot. And I think she was one of those targets because people said that they could smell her flesh rotting days before that. And I know for a fact that the day she died, she got all her stuff had been sold. She bought gold and it had been delivered into her mailbox the day she died. So that could be a government. That smells like a government thing because the government's trying to get their hands on gold, and maybe they just drove this chick crazy. I've heard of people being targeted by microwave weapons, watching their kids. Don't listen to this. The guy was watching his baby writhing on the floor from a microwave, and there's nothing he could do from a microwave. I mean, that's the most horrible picture I could imagine. And then they targeted him, and then they said he went crazy and microwaved his child. I don't know if you heard about that, but they said he stuck his kid in a microwave. It happened about 5-6 months ago, around here somewhere.
Okay, so you're describing the general Taos area,
yeah, I think
not just the Twin Peaks or Three Peaks.
There's people being targeted by the government, and there's a lot of secret weapons going on here, and there's no law saying the government cannot do this because they've been caught doing it on whole apartment buildings full of people in Detroit or something like that. I think they've been caught doing this stuff, and they don't get in trouble because there's no law against it.
Now, having said that, there's also the potential of, the supernatural interference and this area and maybe some of the history.
If anything, that would be positive because this is the only place where the Indians weren't run off their land, and there's still the spirit that they've created here, and it helps certain people, and it helps the people it likes.
Sure.
Yeah.
What about some of the history of
some places like where there was a civil war?
What about the history of the Native Americans being enslaved by those that came here and then went up into the San Luis Valley in that period of war and the Indian Wars?
Well, if you want to get to the bottom of things, what I really think is that they're given this land, and they are the excuse why nobody can come onto it because there's probably a lot of deep military underground entrances.
Going into that angle, you have Louis Bacon, who bought a lot of land. And
UFOs shooting in and out of the ground, who knows?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are trying to figure out the connection between the big-time wealthy investment, the Ted Turners,
and we've all heard of the Taos hum, which was probably them mining underneath us, mining the tunnels and things. And they've been mining tunnels underground for railroads since the 1950s, from like deep military underground bases to an airport. And we've got Alamo Gordo, we've got an airport on the south side of the state, we've got a top secret place called Dulce on the top of the state, we've got Los Alamos, where we all know what goes on there, and we're right in the middle here in Taos, and they're probably mining these mountains for molybdenum and plutonium and shit like that.
So here's another question.
It's only used in military weapons.
Because I could feel that positive spiritual energy in the San Luis Valley and Costilla County and other areas. This like land before time, pristine feeling. Mm-hmm. The idea that this was an ancient ocean, even maybe an ancient civilization lived here along. There's something that was here. And then you have this other activity going on, military, deep underground bases.
This is the thinnest.
There's definitely an overlap.
Crust is the thinnest here anywhere in the world right now.
Okay.
This is the thinnest of the crust. So, and we're way up high in the atmosphere, which is another weird thing. And for the last few hundred years, this mountain range and that gorge are a perfect geographical place to fight off cowboys and Indians and Spaniards and all that stuff.
Right, that is true. And so in a worst case scenario, I've already wargamed this.
And
if America
Donald Rumsfeld probably bought a lot of land here because if there is a nuclear war, he'll be shielded from radioactive bombs and everything.
And it's possible that
the entrance to his fucking office is around here somewhere. It's 3 miles deep.
Right. So in my opinion, they're going to stage this third coming world war after the 2020s.
And jump underground for
some of these guys
years.
In the know have
it's
interest
called
here.
The culling.
So you can see that as well. We have Rumsfeld here. We have Lewis Bacon in Costilla County. We have Ted Turner, and them trying to change the off-grid policies to where regular folk can't live up there.
Hey, I've been in the Army,
they want that area for
but
themselves.
I can't fucking squat on government land with a little trailer.
They have kicked so many veterans.
They've got fucking more land than you can see, and I can't put a little fucking trailer on there somewhere.
Well, if only all those veterans could get together and have like a American Southwest coalition, because there's a lot of off-grid veterans that have been displaced from their land that are now
this system we're living in is so ridiculous. We could go on and on hours. That's what they want us to do, is talk about how fucked up it is. Why don't we talk about either? Well, this is how I boil all this bullshit down. This is from talking to old people and everything. Okay, humanity goes through a roller coaster of tyranny and freedom, and right now we're at the peak of the roller coaster. So as one flash in the pan, you're not going to do anything to change it. Best just get away from it. And right now,
things move in cycles. It's not just one line.
The pros think the safest place is Chile, and if you have any common sense, which is what I rely on, is my own thought process. If you have a sailboat, you don't have to cross one border. You could sail the whole way there.
So that's your next step.
To the coast,
you're going to evolve beyond.
Safely sail. You don't have to know anything about deep sea ocean stuff. You could just be 12 miles off the coast, sail all the way down there using wind and sun power and all the new technology.
You're going to evacuate this sinking ship in an actual sailboat.
All right. First of all, this country is still open territory. That's the way the laws work. And if you think it's a country, then you're wrong. It's a territory that's owned by a corporation, and the corporation is owned by rich people in London. So basically, if you get pulled over by a cop, it's the same thing as if you're on a sailboat and a pirate ship comes up on you. Okay? So what's the difference if you're on land or on a boat? Well, on land, you're more confined. Out on the ocean, it's still a free place, pretty much, and they haven't figured out how to charge you.
Unless you're in the South China Sea these days,
you don't have to pay,
or somewhere near there.
You can drop your anchor anywhere on the ocean, and nobody's going to be.
Looks
able
like
to
there's
going to
be a war. There's going to be a war in the Pacific. We're also going to see that probably in the 2020s.
They could pick you off like target practice if they wanted to. That's why you want to have.
Well, I see the spiritual.
If you ever watched that movie, Master and Commander,
Go ahead.
he won that battle because of a fucking little bug. He's like, it's called a phasmid, that looked like a stick, but it was really a bug. Okay?
Right.
So the idea is to make your ship look like something they don't want to target. You don't want to. So here's my idea: is buy a boat in Mexico. That way the boat is subjugated to Mexican laws. The United States is the only tyrannical little child that will come after its own fucking children if they go astray. That's the only country that is like a little fucking pissed off woman on pharmaceuticals. She wants to get her fucking revenge. Or we're all fucking cattle. Okay, that's why we've been given a social security number. If you get out of the pen, they want you to come back and make money, So that, like I said, it's like first you buy a boat in Mexico as a Mexican citizen, or however you can do that, and then you take that Mexican boat south of Mexico. One, Mexico doesn't have tyrannical laws like America does. Two, Mexico does not follow its people. Three, it's going to be cheaper because if most people who buy sailboats in Mexico are Americans, and then you have to get the boat to America, that's a huge cost you're getting rid of. Three, if you go south of Mexico, you're less likely to be boarded if you're in a Mexican boat than if you're in an American boat. So that's the phasmid there, is you're a Mexican on a sailboat. You're not an American target. And as long as you keep that up, you'll be fine. Because everybody hates Americans. That's a fact.